courageous Palestinian journalist from Gaza, known globally for her raw, first-hand accounts of the ongoing genocide in Gaza, and she's become a vital voice for her people. It's none other than Youmna al-Sayed.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a true honor to be here among you tonight. This is my second time in South Africa. South Africa is a place that holds a very special place in my heart because in the early years of my childhood, I grew up here, and this is something many people don't know. I actually learned my English language from South Africa. I'm not a person who is used to prepare her speeches. I'm a journalist. I stand in front of the camera and I speak to you and I report about everything that I see, I encounter, and that happens around me. I am a witness. I report to inform the world. I did prepare some lines today while I sat on the terrace of my hotel room, and it just hit me, the silence and the peace and the gentle breeze and the birds. I remembered the balcony of my room in Gaza, at my home, which has been leveled now, like hundreds of thousands of other homes in Gaza. As much as I enjoyed that peace, as much as it broke my heart, because for Palestinians, even though I evacuated Gaza, I evacuated with my body. I made the hardest choice. I had to choose between being a mother or a journalist. Because in Gaza, you do not get to be served the justice of being protected as a journalist. Because in Gaza, when you're a journalist, you're a legitimate target. You're a press vest. And that press word on that very heavy vest that you wear for long hours every day labels you as a legitimate target for the Israeli army. As journalists, fathers or mothers, out there in the field, risking our lives every single hour, sometimes minute of every single day, we're worried about our families and about our children at home. But we have to keep on going. We have to keep on reporting. Because what we see, the world will never know about if we think about our own lives and about not risking our lives out in the field. If we stay silent, like Israel wants us to be from day one. Israel has succeeded in banning international journalists from entering the Gaza Strip to expose their atrocities and war crimes against civilians, innocent and armed civilians. Make no mistake, it was planned from day one. It was never a war. It was never a conflict. It was a genocide planned for. The ethnic cleansing the wiping out of history, of neighborhoods, the slaughter of as much civilians as possible, and then ethnically cleansing the remaining, suffocating the people in Gaza to the extent where Israel tells them, your only chance to continue living and to protect your children is by leaving your land. But the people continue with their struggle, with their resilience, because for Palestinians, resilience is not a choice. Resilience is a way of life. For 3 months, when I was still in Gaza, I wondered every single day, do these people of the world know what is happening to us? Are they aware of how much suffering we go through every single day? How many bombs rain over our heads? How many children get killed and how many get injured? Are they aware of what we are enduring? Because the silence was killing us more than the bombs that rained over our heads. Every single day, hundreds were killed. Our homes were demolished. Tens of thousands of civilians until this day are still under the rubble because simply in Gaza we don't have the necessary equipment and tools to pull the people out of the rubble. I watched civilians dig with their bare hands as their fingers cut from the stones and the metal and the rubble, trying to bring out children and save civilians from home after home that was destroyed over the heads of their families. And they never give up. Journalists, day after day, were killed, one after another. Israel telling us to be silent every single day. Although everything we informed and we showed the world was raw material and filtered and edited. But yet, mainstream media and Western media organizations did not back us up as their colleagues. Israel smeared us. They called us liars. They called us operatives. They tried to discredit us when everything we showed the world was a reality, because simply we didn't have time to change anything. It was not a narrative that we showed the world. It was simply just the reality. But what saddens me as Youmna is that what you see on your screens doesn't reflect even a very, very thin reality of the truth of what's in Gaza. I know that many of you will tell me we've stopped watching news because we can't bear the heartbreak, because we can't go on with our lives, because it's too painful to endure. But I'm here telling you that all this pain that you feel scrolling on your screens whether your TVs or your social media platforms? How much time do you spend watching a video, or 2 or 3, a couple of minutes, and then you can't take it anymore because your heart is broken and your soul is shattered, and you feel that you can't go on with your lives? But those children that you watch in these videos, their pain goes on. It doesn't end when the video ends. So thousands of children now who are denied medical care in Gaza because Israel has systematically targeted all hospitals and clinics are enduring that same pain every single moment of every single day. And you know what's more painful than that? Is that tens of thousands of those children are only survivors with no families at all. No parents to hold them in their arms to ease their pain. When I was back in Gaza, my 8-year-old Serene, every single night, asked me, her father, and her siblings to sleep very tight, close to each other. An 8-year-old. She used to say, "Mommy, leave no spaces between us, so that when a missile falls, it kills us all at once, and I don't stay alive alone." This is what our children are concerned with, being only survivors. I remember a story I did about a 6-year-old girl called Sham. Sham was an only survivor after the Israeli occupation bombed her entire home. She told me, "My mommy covered me with her body." So she survived with 90% of third-degree burns in her entire body. Of 90% of her body. Sham was crying. But she wasn't crying because she was injured and she had a broken leg and 90% of her body was burned and a broken arm. She was crying because she told me, "Why did God keep me alive? Why didn't I die with my family? I want my mommy to come back, or I want to die to go to my mommy." And that day, I remembered my daughter's words. This is the kind of fear that these children live with every single day. And this is the kind of terror that we parents live with every single day in Gaza. Imagine having to write the names of your children on their arms and legs because you don't know in what moment your homes could be bombed, whether when you're sleeping or when you're eating or when you're just sitting in peace. And nobody would know who these people are, because the kind of bombs and the kind of weapons that Israel is using on the civilians in Gaza are indescribable. And the amount of destruction and damage they cause is indescribable. There's no chance for you to survive. And if you do survive, you survive with lost limbs. So we have tens of thousands of children, of young men, of women who are amputees now in Gaza, an entire generation. But I also want to tell you something. going through is not just these 2 years of an ongoing genocide. Before the beginning of this genocide, for the past 18 years, Gaza was under a lasting, suffocating Israeli siege. So it wasn't a heaven or anything. But we did choose to live in Gaza. We did choose to raise our children in Gaza. Many of the Palestinians in Gaza, and it's not a secret, hold other passports. I do myself, and that's why, unfortunately, I'm able to travel around the world. Not with a Palestinian passport, though. But I chose to raise my children in Gaza, and I chose to live in Gaza. Although I'm one of the few people who was privileged by living in different other countries around the world. In the past 18 years before this genocide, we watched hundreds of children die of cancer every single year because Israel deprived them of life-saving treatment in the occupied West Bank or occupied East Jerusalem. But it also deprived us of any kind of cancer treatment for our cancer patients in Gaza. For many years during this Israeli siege, the restriction on movement and travel were indescribable for Palestinians. So a Palestinian family from Gaza can't simply plan for a vacation like any other family around the world, even if you have the financial means to do so, because you can't get out or get in through the border. You are in an open-air prison. Even the sea, it's the only place that Gazans have ever had. It's the only place we went to in our grief, in our sorrow, and in our happiness. They took it away. They besieged us. Israeli war vessels were everywhere in the sea. They didn't even allow us to sail for more than 3 to 6 nautical miles at times. So Gaza was not heaven before the genocide. Gaza suffered all this for the past 18 years alone, while the international community and this entire world didn't care. Or they cared, but watched in silence until this genocide happened. Because this is the first time that I actually prepare something, I want to read you these lines that I wrote today. Once upon a time, there was a land of light, a land where children's laughter filled the streets, where olive trees stood tall, older than empires, where morning smelled of fresh bread and jasmine, and the sea carried songs of freedom. This land was called Palestine, a home, a heartbeat, a story carried through generations. But one day, soldiers came with guns and maps. They drew lines across our villages. They forced families from their homes. Our people left with nothing but the keys in hands and the promise we will return. 77 years have passed, 77 years of walls and checkpoints, of homes demolished and rebuilt in our memories, of children growing up under occupation, learning the language of survival before the language of play. And today, Gaza, once alive by its markets and weddings, with fishermen casting their nets into an already besieged sea. Now it's a graveyard, a place where entire families are erased in a single night, where parents write the names of their children on their arms, so the world will know who they were when the bombs fell. The world asks us to be neutral, neutral as we bury our children, neutral as mothers search the rubble for their sons, neutral as the blood of our people soaks the earth. But Palestine is not silence. It is the steadfastness. It is carrying the key of your grandparents' home. It is planting olive trees in the ashes. And it's singing even when the world tries to erase your voice. This is the story of Palestine. It began in joy. It is written in pain, but it endures with dignity. And until justice comes, until the bombs stop falling, and until our children can laugh again in their own homeland, the story will not end. Because for Palestinians, resilience, it is not a choice. Resilience is a way of life. Thank you.